Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I'm really excited and delighted today to be joined by Mattie Caruthers. She is a veteran director, producer, and also a writer. She's got an amazing project out, My Sisters and Me, and we're going to talk about that. But given the history that she has, it's amazing. We've got to go back and talk about all the shows that she's worked on. We won't go over them all, but just to give you a teaser, Jamie Foxx's show, as well as Damon Wayans, My Wife and Kids, and certainly how can we forget the fact that she started off with one of our idols, Norman Lear. So I thought that might be a good spot to begin, and then a little birdie told me that our show, which is called Music and Medicine, is actually where you began, in the field of music. What was that intro to entertainment?
Oh boy, well, I started back in the early 1970s, okay? And I started with Little David Records, which was Monte Kay. He was the co-creator, and Flip Wilson.
Right, I remember.
And the two of them got together and put this amazing, musical, these two, I say musical geniuses, okay? Sure. They started in New York, and then they came here to Hollywood. And lucky for me, that's where I joined them, okay, to be a part of the team. They had Diane Carroll in their camp. They had Franklin Ajayi, they had George Carlin, and Stan Getz, okay? I mean, just tons of them. Kenny Rankin was another one. Right. And so, I'm just blessed to have had that experience.
Sure. Well, we can't let a name like Flip Wilson slip. Tell us about sort of meeting and working with him and what that experience was like. Obviously a legend.
Well, he's just this incredible creative person, and when he gets up in his head, he's totally up there. And his comedy genius was just amazing to be around, and to see someone that can actually live the life of what they imagine is always so interesting to be a part of. So that's what I really enjoyed, is watching him, just, metamorphose into all these different characters that he could be. Sure. And that was amazing to me.
Sure. And I'm sure you must imagine that he was a great influence for many other people that followed, including Jamie Foxx and other comedians.
Oh, yeah. They all came out of
characters like
out of Flip. Flip started it, and they liked what they saw, and they were able to go inside themselves, but he really influenced a lot of comedians,
Sure. Now, what caused that transition from music into sort of going a little bit more behind the scenes for you?
Well, I don't know, you start in one place, and, you do a good job, and then people hear about you. Okay, and so I left there. I went to Richard Pryor, which was another comedian.
Sure, I've heard of him.
You've heard of him, right? A great comedian, and I worked with him, and I enjoyed that, and he'd do comedy acts, and I was right there in the mix of that, and he was interesting because it was about his life. Sure. And it was very painful. And he could take it and turn it into comedy. Right. I was like, how do you do that? Sure. That's pretty doggone amazing, to be in that space. Sure. And it was such a healing for him, to be there. So that's what I learned from him, as to how to heal through comedy. Right. Okay.
What are some of the take-homes that you feel, these are just two amazing experiences before we get to some of your others, where you essentially had literally front row access to great talent, like you said, that was evolving and also groundbreaking at the same time. Yes. What were some of the takeaways that you feel you got from those experiences working with those two greats?
What I saw, they committed to their craft. Sure. And that made me say, wow, you really need to think about what you're going to do, in the future for yourself, How do you want to lay your life out, because I'm watching them. They're doing it right in front of me. Right. And I got to see them, when they're on screen and off screen, and it was just a great healing lesson for me, because you learn what to do and what not to do, and how things affect you in life. And so I was very happy to have that experience.
Sure. A lot of the younger school is concerned about some of the challenges that may have happened sort of off camera. What do you sense that you learned or watched them navigate? Because of course they were many firsts that they were breaking through, being on television and being men of color.
Yeah, well, being men of color, the thing that I loved about them is that they had this certain pride about themselves, and they both had come from broken homes, and they had their challenges, okay. But again, when you take a part of you and you know that something feels broken, and you can find something within yourself that brings you happiness, and that's what both of them did. And so, regardless of the times that we're in and being a black man in America, you know, and what that means for anybody, okay, they persevered through that. Sure. They showed you that you don't have to stop because of that. Sure. Okay, and that's what gave me the strength to move forward, even in my life. Sure. Watching them do it. I'm standing right there, you know, and I'm watching them do it, and they did it all the time, the way that they wanted to do it, their way.
Now it's almost 180 degrees in the other direction to come and work under somebody like Norman Lear. I'm very familiar with his life and sort of his insight into trying his best to really give a portrayal of what it was like to not have money and be coming up, so to speak, as a person of color. What was it like to meet and work with Norman Lear? Norman
Lear was amazing to me. I just stumbled in there, okay?
Literally.
I stumbled in. Somebody referred me, okay, again, I always say in the business it's important to do the best job that you can, because you don't know who's listening, watching, what anybody's saying about you or anything. And I went to, Jane Murray was his casting director, and she brought me in to interview me. She said, "You're not right for this job." She said, "But hold on." And she called J.D. Joe, which was Norman Lear's secretary. And she said, "You know, I have Mattie Caruthers here. She's got this background. she needs to be over there with you and Norman." So I left her building and went over to their building. And I'll never forget it. She put me in this little room. And I sat in the room, and she said, she brought a script in, and she said, "You know, I'd like for you to just type the script. I'm going to time you." And, you know, that was when typing, okay, we have computers back then.
Right.
Okay, so I'm sitting there. I said, "Okay, fine, I'll sit there, and I'm ready to type." And she turned on the little timer, and she closed the door. And I went to typing and doing my thing and the whole thing. And I'm just like sitting there looking at this material, and I'm like going, "Oh my God, this is the actual show, okay, of All in the Family."
Right.
Okay, I'm like going, I'm typing All in the Family. So I finished, and I came back out, and she turned around, she looked at me, she says, "Is something wrong?" And I said, "No." She said, "Well, why did you come out?" I said, "I'm finished." She said, "What?" Okay, right. So she took the script, she looked at the timer, she said, "Oh my God," she said, "You can type 180 words a minute." Right. Wow. So she said, "You just wait right here." Sure. She came back with Norman. Sure. Okay. Norman said, "Hi."
Right, literally.
I'm Norman Lear. Right. Okay. Wow. "Nice to meet you, Mattie." Right. "Okay, you're hired."
Wow.
So
what a great interview. Wow. And talk to us about what you were doing with scripts and writing and assisting in his catalog.
You know, this was a new, time for me.
Right.
Because I had just come from music. Right. And, comedians, okay, and all of a sudden I was into the sitcom world. Right. And, Norman was, working on many things, okay, All in the Family, Maude, the Jeffersons, okay, all these things were already, being birthed, okay. Right. And I was like right in the middle of this stuff, okay, so I was like, wow. And so basically what I did was I banged out these scripts, okay, for them. Right. He would come up with ideas, okay, and he would come up, with synopsis and things like that, okay, and say, type this up, okay. Sometime I would just sit there in the room with him, okay, and he would, just start, all the writers would get together and they would kick out these ideas, and I would just take the ideas down, okay, and, go back and type everything. Sure. They would just think about ideas that they wanted to, to talk about or see come to life. Sure. And then they turned into scripts, and I would go, and do a 30-page script, okay, and just, just whatever they would. Sometimes they'd be 60 pages, okay, and then they cut them down and they bring them back to me and they do revisions, okay. Sure. And I just loved this, okay, because it was so amazing to be in the process of it. Yes. It was like you're in the process of this and you're watching it come to life when it gets on the stage, and I would just sit there, just in awe. Just going, wow, I can't believe this. Okay, I'm a part of this process, and I think that was the most generated for me.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know if the concept of script doctoring existed at that time, and if you had any ability to put a word in here or comments there, or even make certain suggestions to Norman or the team.
Yes, I did. I mean, you know, my thing was to learn as much as possible. And I never said anything if somebody didn't say anything to me,
right.
okay?
Sure,
So
right.
because I just was glad to be there, okay?
Yes.
You know, it's like usually this fly on the wall, right?
Sure.
You know? And, but yes, there were a couple of times that he would ask me, okay, being a black person,
Right.
okay, you know, what does this experience mean to you? Okay, you know, we were doing Good Times, and he would say, what is this experience like for you, you know, being a woman, okay?
Right.
Being a black woman.
Sure.
You know, and I would give him my suggestions, you know, and I would say, well, you know, culturally, okay, you know, it's more like this. I would just give him a suggestion, and he would take the suggestion, okay, and I would just, I've seen my work on many people's pages, and I'm really glad that they asked me, you know, my opinion about something, okay, because you always want to contribute to the cause of what the cause is, okay, and, you know, I loved his work because collectively, he was bringing people of color together.
Right.
And it was in a time when that wasn't happening, okay? He was bringing, you know, social justice or whatever, you know, whatever he was fighting for. He was also trying to, you know, open that space up.
Sure.
So being around that space and coming to work every day, it was pretty amazing.
Sure. You touched on it, and certainly those that understand his life realize there was a tremendous dichotomy because some of the community had a challenge appreciating him, feeling like, okay, here's yet another white person telling our story.
Yes.
And yet, by the same token, he allowed certain people to be able to be super expressive in some of those shows,
exactly.
like Sherman Hemsley and even Esther Roll and things of that nature, and give them a voice, John Amos, that may not have really come out otherwise.
Yes,
To what extent do you feel you were able to sort of help him weather that storm? Because of course there was criticism on both sides of some of the projects he was doing.
And you know, creative people and anybody, when you know you become a family and you get together, it's like anything else. You're going to have conflict, right? You know, and what I realized was, okay, Norman's there, I think he's had a couple of wives, okay, so don't quote me, okay, but at the time his wife was into, you know, women's lib, okay, and women's rights. And you know, in the show Maude, okay, you know, she had an abortion, okay, because her being elderly, and she just felt like, you know, that wasn't a time for her to have a child. And so there's always going to be differences, okay, and I think it's those differences that taught me, okay, the type of person that I want to be, okay, when I knew from the time that I was in the mix of this, okay, this is where I want to be. I want to be in the thick of it. I want to be in the conflict. I want to understand what that means, okay, so that I can be of service in my way. So what he taught me was, you know, everybody gets a turn, and you have to come to the understanding of yourself, what that turn is going to look like for you. And each thing that I learned, regardless if I agreed with it or disagreed with it, speak your voice and then be a part of it. Be a part of the voice that you just spoke, okay? Put yourself in those shoes, okay, so that you can really understand as much of, you know, the controversy about it, so that you can bring the next expression, okay, and make it, you know, stick. Do something, put it on the wall so that people are aware of it. And I love it because the awareness is there. Regardless if you agree with it or not, the awareness is there. Now you've got a chance to go and be you.
So it sounds like in many ways you saw the opportunity for this act as a catalyst to really open the conversation up, when many times we could have avoided that topic and gone for the quick laugh.
Exactly. And I've seen so much of it, okay, you know, Eric Monte, okay, was, you know, he did the shows, okay, he did a lot of those, you know, a lot of the shows, and he was a big part of it. And him and Norman would argue about different things, okay, going back and forth, okay, and they're both brilliant writers. You know, I love them both, okay, you know, and you can't go wrong. But are you going to have a difference of opinion about how you want something to go or how you want it to be, okay? And I think that's most important, because again, everybody has a voice, and you'll get a turn. If you're paying attention, you'll get a turn, and you'll be able to express how you feel, okay? And I think I mean, you know, Norman lived to be 100 years old, okay? He did something right. Okay, you know, you don't have to agree with everything, but he did something right. And I think everything that I saw, if I considered it, well, I wouldn't do it that way, you know, or if I considered, well, that was brilliant, you know what I'm saying? I think that is great. You know, I love comedy, and that's what it was about. And there was a lot of comedy, okay, in there, okay. You know, George Jefferson was a bigot,
right.
okay.
Right, sure, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden you're seeing a black bigot, okay.
Right,
you know,
sure.
when have you seen that?
Sure,
okay,
right.
you know what I'm saying? All in, you know, and All in the Family. I mean, you know, Archie Bunker, I mean, he was a bigot in his own way, in his culture.
Sure.
You know what I'm saysaying? John Amos in Good Times, okay, he came up with some stuff too, okay,
Sure.
it's like,
Right.
you know, so you get to express, okay, you know, it's really important, okay, to see yourself, what the image that you want to see, and then you take that image and you move forward with it, okay, and hopefully you're going to bring something that's going to unfold itself, and it's going to give you the answer that you've been looking for.
Right.
Why it was so complicated.
Right, in the beginning.
You know?
We'd be remiss with mentioning all these legends to not just take a moment to talk about B. Arthur and just being in her presence, having worked with her. What were your impressions or takeaway?
My impression takeaway, this woman was strong.
Yes.
Strong-willed, okay. And you know, her and Esther Rolle played off of each other. Okay, they brought Esther Rolle in before, you know, she did Good Times,
right.
and she put her with Maud.
Yes.
And both of these women were so strong.
Right.
Okay, and so then it was like, wow, okay, the power, okay, of these two women, okay, and having the understanding of where they've come from.
Sure.
And they stood strong in where they came from. They had a presence because they brought that into this TV show. And that's what I loved about it, okay, is that they didn't take any mess. They were quick to say, you know, this line doesn't work for me, this doesn't feel right.
Right.
Okay, this is not something I would say.
Sure.
They were doing that back in the 70s.
Right,
Okay, it was, you know, I know we do it now and people are more expressive now, but they were doing that back in the 70s. And it was really important. You know, Esther Rolle said, you know, I'm not gonna not have a husband on this show. You know, Norman, me and you need to talk. And Norman listened to her when she told him what she had to say, you know, and that was major for me. That was big to see her take. She's got Norman Lear. She's taking him in the room. Okay, you know, it's like everybody's standing out there wondering, what's going to happen? Okay, you know, we're going to have a show. What's going to go down? You know,
Right.
and they come out. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I mean, it was great. You know, she said, no, I don't want to be that person. You know, this mother with children, and I don't have a husband. You know, and he didn't see it the way that she saw it. But once she sat down and she opened up that conversation, they could have that conversation. You know, I mean, sometimes Norman he's just into comedy.
Right.
You know, he's coming from a whole different thing. And when you put the dynamics of, you know, being dramatic in with that comedy and these beats and how that's going to go and what that's going to look like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to pull yourself back, and she was good at doing that. You know, and you know, and so was B. Arthur. Okay, two very strong women that knew exactly how to play this role. If you want me to play this role, I'm going to show you how this role can be played. I'm going to pull it up off the page, and that's what they could do.
Do you think at the time you all sensed not only how revolutionary these shows were, but how much they would continue to be part of the culture and kind of lay the groundwork for other projects that we'll get to that you're involved in?
Yes, I think it's important because, again, stories are so important. Everybody has one. And, you know, we've been watching them and sitting around the campfire since we were little kids, okay? It's just a part of our culture. So I think it's important to listen to where you've been and really understand it for yourself, again, so that if you want to do something and you want to make an impact on the world, it's more about saying you want to make that impact, but how are you going to make that impact? What are you going to do? How are you going to search yourself in there, okay, and be a part of that, okay, and feel good about it inside, okay, and give it to the world so that the world can feel good about it. How can you transfer that, right? So that's important to me, okay, you know, in my journey. And I want something that gives me goosebumps, okay, you know, I love that's a part of a healing that is taking place, and I want to get out of the way and let it happen.
Sure. And on that note, as things began to transition, at what point did you sort of see or seize an opportunity that it's time for me to now make my own mark now that I've worked with, you know, some of the greats?
Yeah, and I think that's what happens, okay, you know, I went from Norman, okay, and the interesting thing of why I ended up leaving that show on my own.
Right.
Okay, and I saw so many black directors that he brought into those shows. Okay, put black directors on those shows.
Sure.
Okay, you know, and I saw, you know, in the script supervising and the associate directing department, and you know, I was banging my scripts out and doing whatever. So I was a script girl. Okay, and these people had these jobs. Okay, and I kept saying, wow, these are great positions, and I'm watching and I'm learning from each one of these people, okay, as they're doing this, okay, and they're part of this whole thing, and the stage managers, and it's like, wow, it's so much in here, okay.
Yeah.
And I decided they had this group of people, and it's going to take me a while before I could get into those positions,
Right.
because nobody was going to leave, because everybody loved Norman Lear.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
right.
he was good to his people.
Absolutely.
Okay, you know, and I'm not going to say every experience was a great experience for everybody, but there was something to learn there, whether you stayed or you moved on.
Right.
But I didn't leave because somebody did me wrong.
Right.
I left because I saw the opportunities, and I got the opportunity there, and it was up to me to go to the next opportunity and make it happen where I needed to make it happen, instead of being the fourth in line waiting for something to go down.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
So I left there and I said, where else can I go get, you know, more to learn? It's still a process going here.
Sure.
So I left there, and I worked for Bill Cosby. Okay, he did some variety shows, and that was really cool, because there was a lot of things I learned about beats and bars, and you know what I'm saying,
Right.
and all that kind of
Exactly.
stuff. Okay, and so that was really cool. I left there, and then I went to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
I got a phone call. Somebody said, hey, would you come in? We want you to interview for this. Boy, they were lined up
Sure.
for that show.
Sure, of
Okay,
course.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Right.
You know, I'm like, oh,
Must be something
this line
important.
is long.
Right.
Okay, but I was very fortunate. I got it.
Right.
I got the phone call. Okay, and I was so excited to get this phone call. Okay, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There's a new take on Hollywood.
Right, sure, totally.
Okay,
Sure.
so this little kid, you know, coming from Philadelphia. Okay,
Sure.
what's that going to be about? Okay,
Right.
living in this Beverly Hills mansion. Okay, let's
Sure.
do it. So I was excited about that. Okay, and I got there. I was the script supervisor.
Sure.
Okay, I became the associate director there, and I became really of value to them, because they would put me in the editing bay, okay, with the editor.
Right.
And you know, we would stay there late nights, okay, just banging out and putting things together and making the show happen so we could get it up on the air.
Right.
So I got some great experiences out of that. You know, of course, I moved on to Jamie Foxx,
Yes.
okay, and oh my God, I mean, all these talents. I mean, you know, Will is a talent, okay, musical talent in itself, okay. You know, he's just an amazing person to be around. He's got a really great spirit and a great heart. And Jamie Foxx, the same thing, okay, you know, and all these geniuses, okay, I mean, they've got musical, you know, backgrounds, and you know, they can act. I mean, I don't know what it is that they can't do, okay.
Sure,
I mean,
right.
you know, he played Ray Charles, okay.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Give me a
exactly.
break, okay. You know what I'm saying? Nobody could play that part.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody could play that part. That was his part. Nobody was getting that.
Warranted.
So wonderful, wonderful. You know, Jamie directed, okay, I was associate director, and so, you know, I was able to assist, okay, someone in first time directing, okay, and it was just such an honor to watch him, okay, his own show and direct himself, okay. That's another thing he could put another hat on and do, okay, so it was wonderful. So I really enjoyed that, and then I went to my wife and kids, and that's where things really took a different turn for me. I came in, I had worked with Damon on another show,
Right.
with Robert Townsend, and they did this comedy skit thing. And Damon had his own show coming up, okay, my wife and kids, and all of a sudden someone said, gave me a call and said, Damon wants you to come in. He remembers you from the other show that he did. And I said, oh, great, okay,
Right.
this is letting me know, it's validation for
Right.
me.
Universe.
I'm taking care of business, okay, I'm doing something right, and they're making the phone calls, I'm getting the calls, okay, so that's what you want in Hollywood.
Right.
And so I get there, and I'm so excited, and I'm being interviewed by this girl, and she says, you know, I said, you know, thank you so much for your interview. She said, no, you're not being interviewed. You're already hired.
Right. Wow.
Damon Wayans wants you to come in and do this, okay?
Right.
I'm like, oh, but wait a minute. I said, oh, great, this is great. So then she says, well, you're gonna script supervise, and you're gonna. And I said, whoa,
Right.
back up. Wait, script supervisor? No. I'm an associate director.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
I used to script supervise,
Right,
right?
understood.
I don't do that anymore. Okay. She says, well, I'm sorry, that job has already been taken. Okay. And she said, but you know, maybe there might be some opportunity here for you, okay, later down the line. Sure. Okay, you know, and I said, yeah, because my next thing is I'm moving on to directing. Exactly, okay, right. You know, so I'm, you know,
I put my time
so
in.
She's like, yeah, my time is, like you said, my time is in. And so, make a long story short, I took the job. Okay, I took it because I thought, this is a new show.
Right.
And Damon Wayans is so brilliant. He's partnering with Don Rio.
Right.
You can't get a better team.
Sure.
Okay. And these two brilliant people putting ideas together, I think there's a great opportunity here for me. Okay. And I know Damon, okay, and I can script supervise him. I can, you know, I can do my job. I can be of service and do what I need to do. And so I took it. Sure. And I got there and I had a ball. Right. Okay. And I got so caught up into the show and doing my thing. You know, it was like I wasn't even really thinking about how I was going to go to the next step. And one day I said, well, wait a minute, I'm having too much fun.
Right.
I need to get back to business.
Exactly. I need to move on.
I need to get back to business. So I did.
Sure.
And you know, I stepped up, okay, and went to Damon and to Don Rio and said, I want to direct. I want to be next in line. Okay, you know, a lot of people are getting opportunities, and I think it's really great. Okay, and you know, my plan was to, you know, eventually associate direct and then be a director. Okay, but I had to start script supervisor. Okay, I'm fine. I took a step back or whatever the case may be. And I was told that you don't have any experience at directing.
Right, a classic Hollywood truism, right?
Yeah. So I said, oh, okay. So we had like a 2-week. I think it was almost a 2.5 to 3 week hiatus.
Right.
And during that time, I went out and shot my show. Okay. I put the script together. I already knew how to do this stuff.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So this is when all of these tools behind me, starting way back here,
over the years,
coming back up. Okay. Doing it. So I wrote the script. Right. Okay. And I put a team together. And during the hiatus time, I shot my show.
Right. Wow.
And I brought it back.
Sure. Right.
And so I had it edited and everything, okay,
everything.
And you know, all that, did that, you know, all that. Brought the final cut and said, here it is.
Right.
Okay. And I still didn't get an answer. And I thought, this is interesting. I've done everything. What is there left to do? What's missing? Okay, so nothing happened.
Sure.
And we got to we were coming to the end of the season.
Sure.
And, you know, they do these little rap parties.
Of course, right.
And the rap party was great. It was so much fun in the whole thing.
Sure.
And I thought, I don't know here. They're not saying anything to me. Nobody's giving me any juice. They keep going, hi, Mattie, how you doing? And so you're so good. Okay. So, again, I said, I got to make an impact. So I get on the phone, I call my husband. I said, honey, nobody's saying anything. We're at the end of the season, okay? You know,
there's
nothing for me to direct. They're not letting me do anything.
Right.
And so I said, I said, they're having this karaoke party. I don't even think I want to come to you know, just like be involved in that. I just want to come home. He said, no, you go to that party. Right. He says, no, I don't want to hear that. Go to that party. Do what you got to do. Right. He said, no.
Get your part.
He said, say something to somebody, do something, okay, and make it happen. Right. So I go back in. I said, okay. I go over to the bar and I asked the bartender, I'm a lady, I really don't drink, okay. Every now and then, occasionally, I'll do my little thing, okay, but I need something. Right. Okay, because I didn't get my nerve up. Exactly. Okay, I need some help here. Exactly. So he said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to sing a song. He said, really? He said, yeah. I said, that's all they're playing is karaoke, and I have to sing a song. Right. So he said, but can you give me something? I don't want to knock myself out, okay? Right. He said, no, I got something for you. He said, I'm going to give you a hypnotic. So he brought me this, you know, this beautiful glass, okay, and it was blue. That's all I remember. Exactly. I don't even, I just remember it being blue, and it had olive in it.
Right.
He said, now, I want you to take a sip of this.
Right, not the whole thing.
Don't
It will really be
don't
more
go
than
overboard,
embarrassing.
okay?
Right.
And he said,
We want
he
you to work in the
said, because I'm
industry.
watching you now. He said,
Exactly.
let's practice this, okay?
Exactly.
So I picked it up and I started to sip it. My hand was shaking,
Sure,
okay?
right.
Because I'm so. He said, yeah, you're really nervous. I said, yeah, you don't understand. I'm
This is
behind
it.
the camera.
Right.
I don't get in front of the camera. This is what I got. He said, okay, no, you're just gonna take a sip now.
Right.
He said, do you know when you're going up? I said, no. So he said, well, go find out when you're going up.
Right.
So I went over there. I said, when am I up? Okay.
Right.
They said, oh, you're number 4. Okay.
Right.
You're coming up you got 4 people ahead of you.
Sure.
So he said, this is how I want you to do it. I want you to sip here, and I want you to come back, and I want you to sip again. I want to check you out. And he was this really little white boy,
Right.
okay? He was
Tried to
a
get you ready.
bartender, okay? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I left
So
him
you
the
could shoot your
biggest
shot.
tip, okay, when this was over with, okay? It was like, wow. But anyway, so I sipped, and I became really relaxed.
Right.
You know, I was like, yeah,
Face your fear.
I'm starting to
I
feel
can do
this.
I can do
Okay, I
this.
can do this.
Right.
Okay, and I needed that. Okay.
Yes.
So anyway, I get up on the stage, okay, and I sung this song, okay, that I love. I love this song.
Sure.
Speaking of love and speaking of healing and how, spirit heals. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I had a little bit of this hypnotic in
Right,
me,
sure.
okay, and I got,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying, and
I
I'm
love
ready.
this, love
I'm ready.
that.
I got my music in my head. And I sing, okay. I start, and I never loved him. He never ever reached me. And I just did the
Let it
rest of the
happen.
song. And I
Right.
just let it happen.
I love it.
And when I finished,
Jaws were on the floor.
jaws were on the floor, and I had an audience. I was like, I can't believe this. Everybody's going, oh my God, and they're clapping, right? So again, I know when things are right because I got goosebumps.
Right.
And I thought, oh, and for some reason, I let everything go. It was like, that was the best performance. Nothing could get better than that, right?
Right.
And Don Brio and Damon Wayans said, wow, we didn't know you could sing. And I said, thank you.
Sure.
And I had made up my mind. I got in my car. I called my husband. He said, how'd you do? I said, I did great. I had the best time, honey. I said, I'm so glad you talked me into staying.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
And I left my big tip to the bartender and thanked him so much. He was just the most pleasant thing to help but be a part
Sure.
of my recovery.
Right. Or ascension. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I've recovered. I'm good. Okay, I don't have to do it. I'm good. And I came out with something more. It was this confidence in myself that really, you know what I'm saying?
I can do this.
Yeah, I can do this. And I just needed to bring my nerves down just a little bit. And my husband and I was doing Christmas time. We were out shopping, for our grandbabies and our kids and, just doing this whole thing. And all of a sudden the phone call came. I said, honey. I said, hello? He said, Mattie, this is Don Rio. I said, honey, it's Don Rio. Don Rio's calling.
He said they're calling me.
Yes. Hi, Don. Well, Damon and I are here in Hawaii, and we're working on some scripts, okay, and we've got the next couple of episodes coming up. We're working on the Hawaii script, but we just want to let you know, okay, you've been approved by ABC and Damon Wayans and myself, and you're going to be directing episodes so and so and so. Mic drop. Nailed it. Okay. So that's how it happened, and that was one of the best experiences in my life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes people who are watching may not know all these terms, so just quick footnote. Script supervisor versus associate director versus director, just a little bit about what the differences between those are.
Well, a script supervisor keeps a stopwatch in her hand all the time,
Right.
okay? And your basic job is to time the show, okay? If you're dealing with a 30-minute show, okay, and you got commercials that have to be, planted in, okay, or whatever, ads or whatever the case may be, you have to leave spaces and time, and you have to know where that is, okay? Also, you get the most wonderful opportunity to work with actors, okay? And just like me and you are sitting here being this close, okay,
Develop that rapport.
yeah, and they're trying to learn their lines, okay, and get into this character, and you're a part of that process for them. Okay, and I get to say, no, that's not what it reads here, okay? And you got way off and went way over here somewhere. You got to come
That's
back,
you.
okay? Because I
That's
don't
not the
know I don't know if Damon and Don, okay, who are the writers of this show, okay, are gonna say, okay, well, wait a minute, what happened to my words here, okay? So I bring them back, okay, and they practice, okay, and some of them they'll do exactly what's on the page, okay. but they need to practice over and over, get it in their soul,
Right,
okay,
sure.
to own
Feel
that
it.
character,
Right.
okay, to feel that character. So that's basically what that's about, okay. Being an associate director, okay, I love that just as much too, all of these wonderful opportunities, and that's working more with the director, okay.
Right.
You know, he marks his shots, okay, you're there, okay, to transfer everything over to the cameraman and tell them what the shots and get everything positioned so that we can actually shoot a show, okay. And then the director gets the opportunity to call action. It's my stage, baby. Okay, I got this. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so and he gets to deal with the writing. He gets to deal, you know, making sure that all the information, okay, that transfers from the stage of what the writers and executive producers want and what the network wants. Okay, he gets to transfer that back and forth. Okay, from the actors to the you know, to the head honchos, I'll say,
right.
okay. So he's kind of the liaison in between there and making sure that all the shots is, you know, the vision of the show, okay, is put together, okay. So that, and he gets to deal with everybody on the crew and make sure that everybody's doing their part, okay.
Sure.
So
what
it's
a
a
great
big job.
filmography as a setup to your project. So all that experience, talk to us about sort of how this concept of My Sisters and Me came together, what the genesis was for you.
Yeah, well, it came together because I went out and shot it and did everything, and because of these two beautiful people ignoring me all the time, you know, was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, just do your job, okay?
Sure.
Nobody's paying you any attention right now. We got a
Right.
show to do,
Right.
okay? And I'm going, no, yeah, I know you got a show to do, but I can do this show. I can do it, okay?
Yes.
And so, you know, that's how I was feeling inside. Now, don't get me wrong. When I'm working, I'm very professional, and I'm there to do my work.
Right.
And the most important thing is, I would say to anybody, when you do your job, do it well. Because again, you never know who's watching, but somebody's watching, and somebody's gonna need something at some point. Okay, and when they do, they're gonna look for the person that is dependable and is gonna do the job, and they know that they're gonna do the job.
Sure.
Okay, so that's really important. So because of that opportunity of them not giving it to me when I thought I should have it,
Sure.
okay, because I thought I was ready for it. I didn't know how it was going to lay itself out. I had no idea that the more I stayed there and did my job, that there was something else that I needed to do to get attention, and they saw me in a different way. It brought it back to their senses in some kind of way. They must have said, okay, let's call the network, okay, and let's see if we can't make this happen or whatever, but they didn't throw me off the table.
Right. So
you know, and I didn't know where I fit in.
Sure.
So I'm so grateful for that, because that's what got me into taking it another step further.
Right.
My Sisters and Me was put together at the DGA. We did a screening.
Right. Directors Guild of America.
Directors Guild of America. Thank you so much.
Sure.
We did a screening, and it was a full house.
Right.
Everybody showed up for it.
Sure.
That's when I knew it was right. Everybody laughed in all the right places.
Sure.
Okay, I was laughing.
Sure.
I knew it was. I knew it was good. But you know, you're so close to your stuff. You just
you
think,
don't wanna assume
yeah,
everybody
you know,
else
you
feels
just
the
think
same
it's
way.
you.
Right.
But when you hear other people laughing, where you're laughing, you go, oh,
I got it.
I got it. I understand this comedy thing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Norman Lear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, thank you, Sherman Hemsley.
right.
You know,
Damon.
I mean, yeah, Damon
Lewis,
Wayans.
right.
Okay, you know, Don Rio. I mean,
Right,
all these people.
Right.
Okay, you know, Richard Pryor. You know, Flip Wilson. Okay, they're all showing up for me.
Right. Literally.
So I don't have time to think about what's going wrong in Hollywood.
Right. Sure.
You know, I'm on the healing side. I'm always looking for the healing. If I can find the healing, so can everybody else.
Absolutely.
They get the same medicine I get.
Sure.
Okay.
And let's tease that out. When you say if you can find it, what do you think helped you to accomplish that?
My higher power. There is a energy and a vibration. You know, some people call it God, some people call it spirit, some people call it whatever. There's so many names, okay. Jesus, whatever they want to call it. I just know that it's there. And it resonates in me, and it lets me know when I'm going one way, and then it lets me know I'm going another way, and then it tells me to balance myself somewhere in between, to take both of theirs, if you want to call it a positive and a negative. just because you need to code it, you know what I'm saying, or decode it or whatever, okay, but it's putting it where it's supposed to be, where it can serve you the best, because that's really what it's about. It wants to serve you in the best way that it can, and you have to be open to that and receptive to that. So that's what it's taught me, okay? As my mom said, oh, no, you don't need to be the know-it-all.
Right.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? Take a chill pill, go sit in the corner for a minute. If you want to call that meditation, you know what I'm saying? Or you just want to call it, I'm having my moment with God or whatever. Okay, I'm going into prayer, whatever you want to say. Get in there.
Right, just do it.
Hurry up, giddy up.
Exactly. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your cast, star-studded. Talk to us about the three sisters.
Woo, my three sisters.
Right.
I am so blessed, okay, because in my mind, having that short period of time to go and get three sisters right off the bat, and I said, I know who they are, okay. First up is Elia English. How fortunate am I that I'm on the Jamie Foxx Show. Elia is playing the auntie in the show of Jamie Foxx, and I'm watching her perform all the time.
Sure, with Garrett Morris.
Yes, with Garrett Morris, okay, who's another brilliant actor, okay. And there were so many in this cast anyway. But I'm watching her, and I'm saying to myself, she's the me and my sisters.
Right.
There she is right there.
Right.
So I didn't have to go very far at all, okay, because we became very good friends. When I started that show, I got called into that show because the associate director had left the show, and I don't know why or whatever, but they maybe went to another show or something. You never know. But I came in, so I wasn't the person when I came in that I was the new kid on the block. Right. So nobody was paying me any attention because the show was already going and they were doing their thing, so I had to catch up. Right. And Elia welcomed me with open arms. Sure. Okay. And so we became really good friends, and I told her about my piece, and I said, I'm going to put it up, I got to get it up, I got to get things moving, she said, no problem. Gonna do it, no problem at all, okay. And so I also went to, and Elia right now, she's on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yes, exactly. Okay, she's got a lot of things going on. Okay, that's going to be a hoop coming back for that show. Sure. Okay, with Larry David. Right. So, and then Stephanie Spruill. Okay, she's Grammy award-winning singer. Mm-hmm. Okay, and she's done many things herself, and I've known her for years as well, okay, and so I went and talked to her, and I said, I'd really love for you to play the part, of Lena, and she's like, oh, she loved it, okay, sure. She could see herself being that, okay, so that worked out really well. And then Tian, she was a newbie. Yes. She's never done anything in Hollywood before, and when I came to her and told her that I wanted her to be in it, okay, to be one of the sisters in the show, she was like, who are you talking to? Why? Why are you picking me? I said, because you're the perfect person for this part. Right. You are it, okay, and I want you to do it. I don't want you to, I'm going to guide you through. I know you have this in you, and you're perfect for it. And so she trusted me. She said, me and her, we went to school together. Sure. Okay, so we grew up together in school. So she accepted it. She said, okay, I trust you. I said, I trust you, so let's go. So I got my three sisters, and I put them together, sure. And I'm telling you, they were priceless. This concept came from my own family, my mom and her two sisters, right. And they are amazing, okay, and they taught me, yes, okay, and they taught me what sisters is and what sisters not, right. Okay, and in families, there's always these dynamics that go on between families, okay, sure. And some of them, again, just like being on Norman Lear's show, there's conflict that goes on. Everybody's not going to get along. No, they're not going to think the same thing, okay. And I don't care what they went through together, what they disagreed with, whatever. They had more shenanigans going on all the time, okay, because it's all about me and I'm the one that knows the best, right. Okay. So I loved that concept, and that's what I based it off of, was my mom and her two sisters. And that's where it originated. That's where the seed came from. Sure. And I have so many stories about them, okay? And they were, entrepreneur women, okay? Like, Esther Rolle, yes. Okay, and B. Arthur. Yes. They had that gut in them, okay? Right. That, that Great. Root, mm-hmm. Okay, that could really stand up. And there's a lot of women that have that. And, even Hollywood or, just people who, not in Hollywood, okay? But they have that core value, and they know it inside. And so it's a lot there to share with a lot of people, you know. And I always say it's just amazing, you know, to be in the presence of family.
Absolutely.
Because family gonna wake you up.
Keep it real. Every moment of the day.
Yes, they do. You're gonna need a lot of healing.
Absolutely. Where can we find the show?
Oh, you can find the show. I just launched the show, okay, last night, okay, which was January the 18th.
Right.
Okay, I'm never going to forget this date, January the 18th, 2024. Okay, I have launched my show on YouTube.
Yes.
And I'm actually, they're giving everybody small bites and doses. It's a webisode.
Sure.
And it's 13 episodes,
Sure.
okay, that you will see. I'm laying them out once a week. And everybody gets to get a dose of medicine.
Sure.
Some good, fun medicine.
Absolutely. Well, we're blessed, and that's the name of our show, to have you and your rich experience. I have to ask just one last question. There's some young lady, and she's finishing up her junior year at one of the film schools here in town, and she gets to watch this. What's some pearl of wisdom? She wants to be a director very soon, one day, that you would give to her?
I would say to this young lady, don't look for it on the outside. Go inside. Sit in that closet or that small, you know, space, okay, and get to know thyself. That's where the real healing takes place. Okay, it resides there for you when you're on the outside, you know, looking in. Okay, you gotta be on the inside looking out, and it will serve you. If you can do that, as you walk through all the walks of life and all the different things that happen, and the struggles and the pains and the happiness and the, you know, just the in between, whatever, you're never going to give up on yourself, because you're going to know where self is. And if you start with that first, there's no way you can go wrong. Every door will open up for you because you opened up for yourself first.
Right.
And that's what this is about. Okay, so let yourself be who you are. As I came up, everything wasn't great for me as a child, and I could have let that shut me down.
Right.
But I didn't, because the healing was always in there taking place for me.
Right.
And I just had to find it. So play hide and seek with yourself.
I like that. That's a great slogan.
Because you can do this.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say to her.
Sure.
Be all that you can be. I would say that to a hymn. Be all that you can be. Be the best that you can be, because you are the best.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that question.
Sure, absolutely. An epilogue, mini bio right there. Thanks so much. Been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks.